Hey, what's up, everyone? Um, Welcome to the RGL News Desk. I told you I was going to be hitting some Q and A's and answering some questions for you guys, and I got one last night that was sent to my messages on my YouTube privately, and I'm going to read this to you guys, and then give my opinion. He wants my opinion on it, and maybe it can help some other people out there too. Basically, about what do you do when you're in a slump as a player. So let me read this. His name is Mods Lex6. And here's what it says. Hey man, how's it going? I've been subscribed to your channel for quite some time now, and I really enjoy watching your videos whenever I get notified about a new one you have uploaded. I know you get tons of comments and messages on how to play a million different songs and all, but I had something different in mind with this message to you. I hope you will oblige me by reading this message. Please forgive the length, but I just want to give you some background on my playing. It's really not that long. Let me close this really quick. And here's what it says. I've been playing bass for about 20 years or so, up until a few years ago. I loved it, man. It was kind of a bummer for a long time because here in my city in Texas, finding like-minded people who like the same kind of music I do was like finding a needle in a haystack the size of a medium-sized city. I love to play my bass, and several years ago, after years of just playing bass in my room, I finally had my own band. It was great to be in a group with people who liked and played the same music I liked. We even began to work on our own material, and to my amazement, people who we played it for really seemed to like it. They were shocked when we told them it wasn't some new band on the radio, but rather it was us. And I bet that's a great feeling. Um, for the first time in my time as a bass player, I had just a tiny taste of what it feels like to create something and have others, aside from friends and family, because, they won't always be honest. Sometimes they'll just, that's my boy, you know, really like it. It was on a natural high. I was on a natural high, and it was really great for a few years, but then it all came crashing down. My band broke up over creative differences and an inability to find common ground on how to create and work on music. Anyways, to this day, it's been about 2 years now since I've touched my bass. I just got so discouraged and down because I love to play, but I was right back at square one with no one to play with and back to jamming out in my room. I'm asking for your help with this in the hopes that maybe you can make a video on how to cope with being in a slump. Many musicians go through this at one point or another, and seeing as you are always on call for lessons and such, I was wondering if you had any tips or points on how to deal with losing the interest in playing that once burned so strongly. I've tried to pick up my bass on a couple of occasions, but it just wasn't the same. Don't get me wrong, the desire to play is still there, but I just have zero motivation to do so now, even though I really want to, or I really do want to. Can you help me with this? I just really miss playing, but I just don't know how to get back into the swing of things, and it's eating me up alive. Thanks for your time and patience in reading this. Mods Lex6. So, I'm going to answer it the best that I can because I think all musicians at some point have been in that slump. Some of the best musicians in the world, probably all of them at some point. I think it depends on a few things. One, how long have you been playing? Because I started playing 12, 13 years old, 1982. Perfect time for me, metal hit the scene, Van Halen, and so, um, but the slump came nonetheless. Probably more so right after I graduated high school, 18, maybe 19 years old. And I got married young, started having kids young. I've been in numerous bands over the years, most of them two guitar player bands, not all of them. But the last band that I was in, called the Velma Fix, was my baby. I formed it in 2000. We were a band. We did 2 CDs. Made it on a Green Day tribute CD called A Different Shade of Green. And we did basket case and put guitar solos in it. And a few other compilation CDs. That was the one band that me at 30 years old, even though I had 5 little ones at home, I really wanted to give it my best shot and see what I can do and take it as far as I can take it. And we accomplished a lot of good things. Played the whole Sunset Strip, went through all that stuff, all over. We weren't in a position to tour and go around the United States, but our music was basically what was kind of popular then was Blink 182, Sum 41, Yellow Card, Foo Fighters, all that stuff. Poppy punk songs, poppy punk rock. That was my concept because I wanted to do something that would be easy to get out and play. You can call it trendy, call it what you want, but it was never my goal to stay there. I wouldn't have been able to stay in just that style. I would have got bored. It's just how I am. Especially being a kid that grew up, playing Eddie Van Halen and Randy Rhoads riffs. My plan was to bring in musicians that were good players that would be cool with starting with this poppy punk rock thing and expand it into heavier, more technical, Dream Theater-ish at times, Killswitch Engage, Seven Dust, and just broaden it. Our first CD was very, very poppy, and then you hear the second one, it sounds like a different band. Finding the right players. For me, because I had so many musician friends, I had one in mind, Armando Carlos. One of my best friends to this day. He's an amazing player. He's a great singer, harmonizes vocally and on the guitar. I feel like we sponged off each other. So we had that Lennon McCartney thing going. You can hear our stuff, myspace.com/the Velma Fix tribute. But then we ended up auditioning had a few different bass players, ended up getting a good buddy of mine that I went to high school with named Doc. He had an accident where his hand went through a window and messed up his tendons and really couldn't play. That was kind of the beginning of the end for us. But it seems like we went through so many drummers. And it was grueling because I'm a drummer, Mondo's a drummer. We're auditioning drummers that are like, yeah, man, they're talking themselves up and they come and audition and me and Mondo can play better than them. We wanted players that could hold their own, man, that were great players, diverse, and open to the direction that we were going. We wound up eventually with a guy named Tom Varga, a young cat, but this dude was amazing. Had older brothers that were listening to Neil Peart. So I finally had kind of my dream band with musicians that were on board with the idea of changing the style and blending it and doing our own thing. And it was cool. It was very fun while it lasted. We had several different managers. At the end of the band, I started managing. My wife was helping as well. But I was dealing with the promoters and stuff, and it sucked the fun and the life and the joy out of it, and it became more of a job. And I will never do that again. It's messed me up to this day. When music starts not being fun, because I was getting involved in an area because I wanted it so bad, I didn't want to miss opportunities. So, but anyways, that band split up in 2004, the Velma Fix. The longer you play, the more chances that you've went through being in a slump. Could it be because you had a bad experience with that band and it was the one band that it sounds like you were really enjoying and liking? I don't know all the details of it, but it fell apart and you guys weren't on the same page. That could have messed with you mentally to where you're afraid to make a step and start over again. I know I was after the Velma Fix. I thought, man, as hard as I worked in this band and it didn't work, I am not going to start over with it. It's left a bad taste in my mouth. I'll just play at home, And I'd been teaching guitar, since 1991, 92. There's a difference between just teaching and playing in a band, though. Because when you're playing in a band, you're pushing yourself and you're challenging yourself, or you should be, to be the best that you could possibly be. So, you being in this slump, that you need to check yourself. Could that be part of it? My suggestion is there's nothing wrong with going back to the woodshed, man. You said you find yourself just jamming in your room. That's cool. That's where we all started. That's where Eddie Van Halen started. But if you can find a good drummer or another guitar player, get with him and trade riffs, jam together. It'll probably reignite that fire. There's a really good guitar teacher on YouTube named Mike Gross. And youtube.com/rocking guitar lessons1. Go to his channel. There's stuff everywhere, you know. Find stuff that when you watch it, you like how it sounds and you want to learn it. And learn it, you know. Learn it and try to get it note for note. Like I said, I haven't heard you play, so I don't know where you're at. You're probably pretty decent. 20 years of playing. So, but yeah, I mean, you really miss playing, but you don't know how to get back into the swing of things. So I think maybe, you know, go back in time a little bit. I don't know what music you listen to. If it's Van Halen, go back and start learning the Van Halen chops. I mean, here I am at my age. I'm just, the fire started again to start learning Eruption from Eddie Van Halen and doing it right, you know. Stuff like that will put you on fire. You know, it's an opportunity for me. And when your passion and your heart's in it, it's not like a job. It's something you should enjoy doing. If you're getting frustrated, put the guitar down and come back, you know, a couple minutes later or a couple hours later or the next day. But stay with it, man. Surround yourself with some good players. You know, even with me, I mean, I've, since opening my channel in 2012, some of the people that I have met, some of the pros in the industry that are contacting me to teach them, that's inspiring. You know, being asked by Michael Sweet and of Striper to come and play some shows with them, which I'm doing this year, Oklahoma City on June 30th of 2016. You know, becoming friends with Oz Fox and having him interview me, you know, for his Sir Oz Academy, and then other emails I get, you know, from pros in the industry. Doug Pinnick, my hero for singing from King's X, contacting me. Kimberly Dame from the band Boston, taking guitar lessons from me and thanking me for what I'm doing. So sometimes we need that encouragement, and you've pulled yourself out of that environment to where it's just you. When you were in a band, you know, people were liking you, they were digging you, and there's nothing wrong with feeling a pat, man, on your back. Good job. It makes you feel like, you know, when other people appreciate what you do, it's a good feeling. But you got to know where to draw that line too. I get emails of people that are just completely rude sometimes and telling me I'm this and I'm that and I suck and blah, blah, blah. And you have to just let that stuff go. At the end of the day, try to go back in time to when you first started playing. What made you want to start playing guitar or bass? For you, it sounds like it's bass. Was it Geddy Lee? Was it Steve Harris? Go back and start learning those songs and playing along with those songs and get every single note right in there and practice. And if you're struggling, then zone in and make it come together. The songwriting process, you've already been a part of it. You know, for me, a lot of musicians were a sponge, and what we write is a reflection of what we listen to as players. So I had a student one time when I first started teaching coming in. I kind of knew him back from the high school days. We weren't really buddies. I didn't really care for the guy. He was just cocky and arrogant, and I'm a down-to-earth, humble dude. It feels like I can always get better. But he came in for lessons, which was humble in itself, I guess. And I was going to teach him some riffs out of these certain songs, and he said, "Oh, no. I want to be 100% original. I don't want to learn anybody else's stuff." And I kind of was like, huh? Okay. So what I ended up doing was teaching him stuff that I was making up, which were parts of influence of stuff I'd listened to, whether it was George Lynch or Vinnie Moore or Michael Schenker or Matthias from the Scorps or whoever. But, you know, let's face it, we're in a musical world. It's hard to just not listen to anything. If you don't listen to anything, I don't know what you're going to come up with. Let me know. But you want to compile these things and put it into your bag of musical tricks and push yourself. Maybe try to write a song on your own and construct it and bounce it off people, see what they think. But I think you need to get with some other musicians and some other players. A drummer would be really inspiring because you can have the beat behind it, and that can motivate you in itself. Another guitar player. But get them at your level, and preferably a little better than you. You want to be in a situation where you're not the teacher. When you're in a band element, you want people to be able to hold their own. that will also be open-minded to ideas. You know, my drummer would throw ideas my way, and he wasn't a guitar player, and I didn't get offended. I'm like, hey man, we want the best for the whole. And I do the same thing. You know, hey, try this drum roll here, or, you know, maybe go to the cymbals or the hi-hats instead of the ride on this part. So I think you can get back to where you want to be, dude. Don't let it keep you down. I think once you get a taste again, you'll get inspired again. I don't know if you can get some of your old musicians that were in that band to join back or start over. Play some ads. It's grueling. You may talk to 50 people and 49 of them are going to be ridiculous, and then you'll come across that one person and it'll jive. All right? So I don't know what else to tell you. I hope that helps. Don't give up. Keep pushing on. Keep trying to get better as a musician. And the key, man, stay open-minded with music so you can be like a sponge and don't just stay one track. I understand styles of music are usually rock and country, but learn all of it and you can bring those elements in to your style and your playing, and it'll give you something to strive and work for. All right? So I hope that helps you, buddy. Hang in there. And anyone else that's here that gets in those slumps. Sometimes family gets in the way. Job gets in the way. Outside stresses can affect you and make you not even want to play, and what used to be your enjoyment now seems like a chore, and it seems like you might be going through a little bit of that. All right, so I'm just encouraging you, keep going with it, and see what happens, man. Send me another email down the road, and if any of my other subscribers watching this have any advice and you've been there, help a brother out, man, because we've all been there, man, me included. All right, but really it'll bring joy and satisfaction once you get your heart back into it. Be sure to subscribe to the channel here. Lessons constantly, Q&As, stuff like this. I'll be doing a Facebook live stream coming up, so be sure to add me on Facebook. You can add me on Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest. And of course, subscribe to this channel. All right? And I gotta go. This is a long video. I don't know if it'll upload it. But yeah, man, I hope that helps you, buddy. Keep rocking.